morning, everybody. Thanks for coming. I'm so happy to see so many people attending this conference because it's our main project this year. It's the first step of a 2-year-long project we have created together with the International Touring Book Fair. That's open to the public, and this allows us to open and to create events also for the general public. The idea and also the strength to get started with this came from the cultural cooperativa Giannino Stoppani, who's the curator of the project, and we are very happy to have started doing this because we got so many books from publishers from all over the world. We are so happy to have Isabelle, that she is the winner of the children's book on art category, and all these friends I see here, very old friends in our story, like Paola Vassalli, who has been working with us for ages, and Silvana as well. And then Charles came in our group of friends as a member of the jury of the Illustrators exhibition in 2015. And then Class, many years before, he started being a friend of ours, and Maria came last year. I was so happy to meet her, and I immediately asked her to get on the boat, and Isabelle, she is the winner, so she has been with us for many years with her books, but I'm pleased to welcome her in our conference. So have a nice talk. I'm sure that Maria will be able to pick up the best of everything. So I give the floor to you.
Thank you, Elena. And thank you to everyone at the Bologna Children's Books Fair, and welcome to everyone in our audience. It's an honor to be here to moderate this special panel dedicated to the important subject of children's books about art and artists. It would seem like a natural pairing, the work and the lives of the great artists of world history and children's books created and illustrated by great artists working today. And it is. But making a children's book about art is also challenging in very particular ways that we're going to be talking about today on our panel. To give just one example, the contemporary creator must evoke and pay homage to the subject's work and style without losing or compromising their own style and their own artistic integrity. But as difficult as these books can be to get right, they've never been more crucial. They represent an especially important responsibility. In my country, the United States, right now, one of the richest countries on earth, art education is considered a luxury. Many schools don't offer it. We have a newly elected government that has pledged to cut off all funding to arts organizations and cancel the National Endowment for the Arts. So more and more, it seems it's falling to the people who make and publish children's books to introduce our artistic heritage to the children who will carry it into the future. Luckily, we're at a moment when the art world and the world of children's books are coming together beautifully. The past few years have seen a surge of picture book biographies, for example, of artists. In fact, the last 2 years, the prestigious American Library Association Awards, which are the most, in America, considered the most important children's books awards, they've been awarded to 2 biographies of artists. And this is unusual. You know, these awards are chosen only by a panel of librarians, and they have tended to be on the more conservative side, but the last 2 years we've seen 2 books about artists win awards. In 2016, the Robert F. Seibert Medal, given to the best nonfiction book, went to Duncan Tonatia, there's Duncan, for Funny Bones, Posada and His Day of the Dead Calaveras, published in the US by Abrams. This was a visually striking and innovative biography of Jose Guadalupe Posada, whose political cartoons were the basis of his popular haunting calaveras drawings, which are foundational for modern Mexican art. This year, a very exciting thing happened in our country. The Caldecott Medal, the 2017 Caldecott Medal, which is the most important award for a picture book, was chosen, and it's chosen on the basis of excellence in illustration. So it's really an award for the illustrator. Went for the first time to a biography of an artist. It was by Javaca Steptoe, who you see. It's called Radiant Child, the story of young artist Jean-Michel Basquiat. Also published by Little Brown. Steptoe spent 6 years working on this book. He constructed the art for each page out of wood that he salvaged from spots around New York City that were meaningful to Basquiat. Then he pieced them together and layered on collage and painted elements. His publisher had to use a special museum art photographer to produce the final images for the book. But as you can see, oops, sorry, we'll go back. All right, I'll close that up. As you can see, that really paid off. Okay, so that's the end of my images. So our panelists today are all dedicated to promoting aesthetic literacy and the love of art in children around the world. So let me introduce them to you. Our first speaker will be Paola Vasali. Paola, next to me. She is a curator and an art expert on contemporary art. And she's the founder of the Educational Department and Art Workshop of the Palazzo Esposizioni and Scuderia del Quirinale in Rome. She was a jury member of the BRAW 2017 Children's Books on Art Award that went to Isabelle. We also have Charles Kim, to my right, who is an associate publisher at the Museum of Modern Art in New York City, where he oversees the digital publishing strategy and international collaborations for both print and digital projects. And most excitingly for us, he is responsible for launching the MoMA children's books line. Then we have two illustrators with us, Klaas Verplank on the end, an award-winning illustrator from Belgium whose work appears in many publications around the world as well as in children's books. His most recent book is Magritte's Apple, about the Belgian surrealist artist René Magritte, published by MoMA. We have also Fatinha Ramos, another award-winning illustrator working in Belgium, although she's originally from Portugal. Her work also appears in publications around the world, and her most recent book is about Sonia Delaunay, a painter and textile, theater, and fashion designer who made enormous contributions to the development of abstraction. And then, finally, we have Silvana Sola, who is the professor of the history of illustration at ISIA Urbino, Istituto Superiore per le Industrie Artistiche. She is also the curator of the special 2-year Children's Books on Art project that Elena mentioned, which is a series of exhibitions, workshops, panels, seminars, and more. So we are going to start with a little interview with Isabelle.
Hello. Okay.
Oh, that sounds great. Okay. So I'm going to just ask Isabelle a few questions, but she also brought some material.
Yeah, those are sketches from the book.
So and she'll work into our discussion those sketches. So Isabelle, when you were first approached with this project, what was your reaction? Did you have any hesitation or a special interest in doing a picture book about another visual artist?
Well, I had already done a book about another visual artist, which was Paul Gauguin, my first children's book, a long time ago in 2004, that won a GG Award in Canada. So yeah, it was something.
The Governor's General Award.
Yeah, it was something I already experienced working around somebody else's artwork. So, but this time it was special because Louise Bourgeois is an artist that I truly admire, and yeah, her style is closer than mine. So it was much easier to just work around her style and produce my own images. And yeah, it was my first children's book in the US. So yes, thanks to my agent, Kirsten Hall, who made it possible. And I was just a bit concerned at first about working with the American people, because I was not sure if they would be open-minded and like easygoing, because usually when I work on a book, a project, I like to have freedom around my creation. And so with Abrams, it went super well from the start to the end. And yeah, I was very happy with the result.
Great. And how much research did you do into Louise Bourgeois' life to do the book?
I knew some of her work. As I said, I was admiring her work, but I just knew like a little part of it, the most popular pieces, I guess, the huge spiders and some of her sculptures. And so I had to, I saw some exhibitions in museums, so I knew the power of her creation. And but I had to look around to discover the rest of her creation. I bought books. I looked over the internet, and that's where I discovered the whole range of her creation, from sculptures to weaving and paintings and drawings. And so I was a bit overwhelmed at one point. I thought, well, how will I focus on some visual for this book? But I kind of used the weaving pattern to harmonize everything. Yeah, as a fil rouge in the book.
Did you want to show anything about these images? Anything you want to say about any of these pages?
Well, that's the last image when the book finishes on her death, kind of. She returns to the water where she grew up nearby.
And you've talked a little bit about this, but is there anything else specific about conveying her art in a picture book format that you were challenged by?
Can you repeat that question?
Was there any specific challenge to her art in the picture book form? And again, as you were saying, with your own style and your own freedom, wanting your own freedom to.
Well, it seems challenging, but at the end it's quite easy, because the universe, the visual language is already developed. So it's less research and exploration for me, because at the starting of every book I make, I do a lot of research and experiments with the medias, and so for this book it was special. The universe, the color palette was already settled, so I just had to synthesize everything and just transfer it into my own language, but still being representative of her work. That's the tricky part, but at the end it was quite easy. I would say it was like one of the most easy books I've ever made. So
wow.
Yeah, it took like a month. So.
Oh wow, unusual.
Yeah.
Don't say that. Your fellow illustrators will not appreciate that. Okay, and so anything? Did you had the first slide about your process? Anything else about the process you want to share?
No.
That was good. Okay.